So hi everybody. So today we'll present how BPM platform like Bonita can use serverless and microservice technology to guarantee the scalability on the cloud infrastructure. So Bonita provides a platform to create business application where multidisciplinary teams can collaborate to create all the artifacts of an application, the UI, the data management, and of course, the business process. So the business users want to provide a new service, to innovate and provide new service to end users. And for that, the developer and the system administrator have to ensure that the platform will scale in accordance to this new service and innovation. So why it's so important to have a platform that scales? Because the business users want to ensure the goal of his new service will be reached, and so we want to ensure the quality of service for the end users. So what are the main criteria to guarantee scalability of a BPM platform? First, it should be transparent to end users. It should be automatic and dynamic. So first, why transparent to end users? Because we want to ensure the end users won't wait for a task to be available. When he submits a task, it will be immediately completed. It should be automatic and dynamic for the system administrator to be sure it won't have a complex platform to put in place and to guarantee scalability. It should be under cost control for the business user, don't have to pay an oversized infrastructure. So how we can meet these criteria? So the first two criteria can be met using the specific architecture, so changing the architecture of the platform. So we decided to have a move to a microservice architecture. So I won't represent that because Sandy and Dennis had a very nicer slides than this one. So what we decided is to launch a strategy of componentization of our platform. So we decided to split our main platform in multiple components using the Docker technology in order to guarantee the local scalability of each component. And we ensure the deployment automation of this service using Kubernetes. So here's the first step of the componentization. So we started to group the different services into pods. Pods are a group of services managed by a Kubernetes deployment, and we manage the scalability at this level. So the second axis for scalability is it should be under cost control, and it should be generic to all process types. So we can manage that by looking at the execution of the different pieces of code. So why execution? Because on Bonita platform, you can have a lot of extensibility. You can create your own connector, your own operation script. You can add business rules with a long piece of code, etc. So it makes unpredictable the impact on the platform. So being extensible means there is no guarantee of what will be executed and when. So no way to know the resource consumption, hard to isolate, and hard to guarantee the parallels. So serverless approach can clearly solve these pains. So what is serverless? Serverless approach means that you can develop your application without taking care about your whole infrastructure. You just have to build your code and it will be executed. So the first aspect of serverless is function as a service. This is the basis of the serverless aspect. It means that when you develop an application, you can externalize the execution of some piece of code to a service like AWS Lambda, which is one of the main famous service, which will execute for you this code. So the advantage of the serverless approach essentially is the cost control, because the cost is linear compared to a platform where you have to size in advance. With a serverless approach, you pay only for what you use. So with Bonita, you can easily plug the serverless on any extension point we have, on connector, on gateway, and ask for the external service to execute this code and to retrieve the callback after them. So with the change of architecture, we will manage the load of the platform, and thanks to serverless technology, we can manage the cost of the scalability. And so we try to combine both in the new platform strategy. So thanks to this combination, the project team can focus on developing application for business users rather than having to focus on the complexity of application to guarantee the scalability. So for the demo, we'll show you platform of Bonita in the context of a payroll where we want to ensure that the monthly payroll process will be executed fastly and with an unpredictable load on the platform. So, Thomas.
Okay, so now we are going to switch to the demo. For the concept of the demo, we will start with a monolithic platform, Bonita platform, which is what we provide usually. And for the context of this demo, as Philippe just explained, that we have this main process which involves payrolls, and most importantly, we have a user task which is here, and this is when the user interacts with the platform. In addition, we have this other process which is generating a lot of loads on the platform, which is a CPU, which use a lot of resources, which is time consuming. And so what we are going to see during the whole demo, it's what the impact of that kind of processes on the platform, and especially for the end user, how we can manage to mitigate this kind of load using the Kubernetes orchestration. And at the end, we will use serverless to show what we can provide more convenience way for the system administrator to delegate the load to another services. So what is important with Bonita is that we have a lot of way to customize the execution. And mainly we use what we call a connector. This is where the customization can be put. And as Philippe said just before, we cannot predict what kind of customization our customer is going to put inside. So for example, you have that kind of code that could be put inside a connector. This means that this is a very big piece of code which can perform a lot of operation and which could have a very bad impact in terms of performance for the platform. So now I'm going to show you what is the user experience in case of a platform where there is no load. So this means that usually the user is going to start his process. The second one is the one that we inject the load on the platform. So this is something that we see a lot with our customer. So they are used to have their tasks coming in their task list very fast. Okay, as you see, it takes 1 second or more or less. And so this is a normal flow for the end user. So I'm going to finish this task. So now we are going to see what's going on when the platform has a lot of load injected on it. So for such a for this to inject this load, I will use a small tool which is called Gatling, which is a load injector, which will inject, simulate hundreds of users performing this high CPU usage task, and then we will see what's going on for the user experience. So let's give it some time to start. So now if we start the process again, and we go back to the task list, what we see is that I can wait long time. And so usually what the user is doing, it's calling his boss, he say, what's going on with the platform? I cannot work today, I'm leaving. So this is very frustrating, and in the meantime, the user cannot understand what's going on, and this is very frustrating for him.
So now, Thomas will show you how we have uncompose the application in multiple pods using Kubernetes. So this is the first step of the split in multiple service of the platform.
Okay, as we mentioned earlier in this presentation, we use Docker for a long time with Bonita, but we were not using Kubernetes orchestration. So what I'm going to show you is the new solution that we will propose in the future using orchestration. So this is the dashboard which can give you some high-level information about the status of the deployment. So I won't go too much into details about the Kubernetes concept, but mainly what we have is that we have the portal part, which is the front-end part. We won't go into details in this part in this presentation because when the place where the BPM execution is performed is in the BPM engine. So what you see here is that we have the pod. For now, we only have one single instance of pod. And what we want to have now, it's we want to scale the platform to have more computing capacity. So which this dashboard I will require now to have more instances of the BPM engine. So now it's starting. Something which is important with Kubernetes is that you are not forced to manage the scaling manually. Now you have something which is called auto-scaling, and which is represented here, if my mouse wants to move. Okay, auto-scaling means that you use some probes. It can be CPU, memory, whatever monitoring metrics you want to use, and you define some gates. And if that gates are, if your system are increasing, if the load increase in the system, Kubernetes automatically will increase or decrease the number of pod instances you have in the system. Okay, now we are going to see that now we have, here we see that we have 3 pods. So this means that we should have 3 times more resource capability to manage the load on the platform. Okay. I want also put your attention on this graph. This is, basic monitoring stuff. So what you can see here is that when I was injecting the load, we see that the CPU usage was increasing. And so now what we are going to do is that replay the injection and see if, from the user point of view, the user experience will be better or not. So remember that we have 3 times more computing capacity. So let's see if the god of the demo is with me. And here with me, this one. Okay, so what we can see now is that for the end user, the load on the platform has no impact on it. So this is a very, very interesting thing that the administrator with very few action can manage the size of this platform and provide a very better user experience. In the meantime, as we, like I said before, we have 3 times more resources available for the platform. This means that the load on the global platform also increased a lot. So in a few seconds, we will see that the CPU usage will go up and up. This means that with that kind of solution, okay, we can scale maybe to 5, 10 pods, but we will reach a limit. So this can be part of the solution, and that's why we are going to show you that serverless and especially function as a service can also help reducing the load on the platform and make the user experience great again. Okay, as you can see here, that normally we should have around 3 times more CPU usage on the platform.
So now we'll switch to another step. So we'll add and externalize the execution of the complex connector on the process, test process for the demo we have made. And we'll externalize this load to AWS Lambda service in order to limit the load on the platform itself currently.
Okay, so I go back to the studio modeling solution. In the prior use case, when we were using this kind of implementation for the load, now we are going to use an adaptation of this process, which will use what we call a connector. So this means that instead of performing the computing inside the platform, we will delegate it to the Amazon Lambda using this kind of connector. So I'm going to show you what is Amazon Lambda. The main point here is that what we want to emphasize is that the main interesting thing is that we want to put the execution outside of Bonita or the BPM platform, and also it's better to have asynchronous call, because otherwise your platform will wait for the execution. So this will reduce the CPU load, but you will also use some resources just for to wait for the execution results. So instead of performing other tasks. So for the purpose of this demo, we have set up a BPM Lambda function. So what I've done is that I took the code which were previously locally performed and I put it in the function. There are two main advantages of using such solution. Is that usually, first, most of the cloud provider provides that kind of feature. You can also have your own function as a service running on Kubernetes or whatever, and you are not forced to learn a new language. So for developers, this means that they can still use the same language as before, but also they can use, like in this example, another language. This means that you can leverage new opportunities for your team or for external team to use whatever language they want. So now I'm going to rerun the load on the platform. This will call this function, and we will see first that the function is called, and then we will also see that the CPU usage on the platform is not as much high as in the locally processed computing. Okay. So this is the same, exactly the same load, simulated load, except that we are going to use a serverless function. So now if we go back to the function, we have some kind of monitoring information. Okay, so here we see that we have called the function quite a lot. Just keep in mind that it's not one line per call, it's grouping session that we have called this at least 100 times. And if we go back to the platform, we should see that the CPU usage is low. We will go back to this in 1 minute because the monitoring provide information each minute. So to conclude, what we have seen is that firstly, scaling, as Philippe said, that the scalability of your platform should be transparent for user, and especially the load on the platform should be transparent for the user if you want him to continue to use it. We have first seen that Kubernetes provide easy way to perform scalability, horizontal scalability, and then that serverless can also help for delegating the computing outside of the platform. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. If you have any question, yes, Jad.
The service task, if I remember correctly, up until now, it's the version we use, it's synchronous, so that should have a timeout. That doesn't mean you have adding an external
Yes.
Cloud Commando or other external task that are asynchronous.
Yes, we changed the way we manage the connector itself and in an asynchronous way.
So options.
Yes, absolutely. And what we want to do in the future, so here, as you have seen, we have created a dedicated connector to call the AWS Lambda. But what we want to do in the future is to automate that. So to, at the platform level, decide if you want to externalize the code to serverless service or to execute it into the platform. So to avoid to decide at development time, but to decide at execution time.
What version is this called?
The future. A next version.
Yeah, but as Philippe said, that in the next upcoming version, we
Yeah.
basically in the past, when you have some connector, they were directly influence even the normal workflow, and then what we have improved is that this totally separate way of managing the resources. So this means that even with that kind of solution, custom code shouldn't impact the end user as it was in the past. Yeah, the god of the demo was with me. Look here.
Yes.
What about cost saving? That was one of the advantages, but
Yeah.
Lambda is not one of the cheapest way of running your code.
Very good question. So how do we decide to use Lambda or to execute locally? I would say try Lambda first, and if you discover it does not help you to save your cost, you can change. But I would say AWS Lambda should help you to adopt the strategy of fail fast. So you should use serverless technology, clearly, because it is really a big advantage. Clear compared to having to prepare your platform in advance. You don't know exactly how will be your process, what will be executed, etc. So configure first to use Lambda and after adapt it. So it's a mix, it's a balance between playing with the scalability of the platform itself and playing with AWS Lambda service. Yes?
If you have multiple parts of your engine, how do you sync the state so that related requests can be executed by any of the engines?
Good point.
Yes.
Currently we are still, do you want to answer? Tech guy will answer.
Just to rephrase your question, you mean that how you ensure that which pod is going to execute the work? Or?
Or we synchronize the different pods.
Okay. Basically, in Bonita, we have a clustering feature. So we have some data are clustered, and here we are using this feature, but using the Kubernetes discovery. This means that the cluster is aware of it running on Kubernetes, and so when a new pod of the engine is up and running, the discovery occurs, and then this new pod is added in the cluster solution.
And for the cluster, we use a shared memory layer called Hazelcast to communicate between the different nodes.
And so we rely
So
on
we
the
dynamically discover the different pods in the Hazelcast layer.
Have you experimented with how many engines you can run in parallel before actually the overhead of the underlying?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Good question, and we had that in the product list, so check. No, you're right, a very good question. Yeah. We should do that.
We have a talk. Where we talk together about how much memory Bonita needs to run. Basically, the number of pods we can run depends on the size of the cluster. Here for the demo, it's a single node cluster. So for sure, we cannot run 10 or 20 engine pods for sure.
So all these engines share the database, right? One database, multiple engines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the one still, yes.
Limiting, right? You can't run many.
For the one, it can be a single point of overload, but for the first test we have made, we do not see any contention for the database, but yes, it could be. So we have also in our plan maybe to get rid of this stickiness on the database, but to use more an event-based capabilities, but very, very future.
For example, it's transactional, right? It's not going to be a problem.
This is why we have to change the way we have designed. So. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.